Rory.
And I'm Ryan.
And we're the Black Somms. Today we're talking about both of one of our favorite types of wine, Bubbly. We could say champagne, but being that we know better, there's a lot of nuances and differences between the different types of sparkling wines.
So, they all go pop though, so we're going to talk about each and every single last one of them today.
Exactly.
You say that it's one of your favorites. This is my legit all-time favorite. It's higher than high. This is the creme de la creme. This is Pinky's Out. This is everything. This is fancy. You love it more than rosé? I love it more than rosé.
Ooh, so I guess we both have something in common now, because this is my absolute favorite too. And we're going to take you on...
High five.
Ooh. We're going to take you on a journey to show you the differences. There's differences in price, there's differences in flavor, there's differences in where they're from. And we're going to basically do a Champagne for Dummies episode today.
Yes. So what do we have in front of us today? In front of us today, we will start in Italy. We've already actually started, that's why that one's open. We're going to start in Italy with Prosecco.
Prosecco, yeah.
Then we're going to go over to Spain for Cava. Then we're going to get into some true champagne from Champagne, France. And then last but not least, we're going to end with, what's this, a demi-sec over ice sparkler?
Yeah, so we're going to show you the different and new age style of sparkling wines and how they're making them different.
Yes, the new stuff.
Yeah.
So, new.
All right, then. So
differences within champagne, sparkling from Spain and sparkling from Italy.
All right, then. So let's start with basically what makes something a champagne.
Okay, well, this goes into the history of it. I'll give you a little take on history.
Talk to me.
This bubbly stuff wasn't always bubbly. It was a still wine and people enjoyed it. But in France, where we have our champagne and sparkling wine originating from, let's see, there was a monk, you may or may not have heard of him. His name is Dom Perignon.
Ooh.
He is credited with inventing champagne, but in reality, his job was to stop the bubblies from coming.
Ooh,
his job, because as I stated, they liked the wine still. It was a still wine at first. But because France was so cold when they were stirring the champagne or stirring the wine, when spring came around, everything heated up again. That started a secondary fermentation. So the wine started, the juices got going again, and then the bottles would pop. His job was to make sure that didn't happen.
Oh, okay.
But fortunately for us, it did. And now we get to enjoy all types of bubbly. So that's the just origination of champagne itself from Champagne, France.
Okay.
Then all the bubbly stuff moved all over the world. Like I said, we're going to be starting with a Prosecco. Why is this different from what they make over in Champagne? We can be here for hours talking about that. But specifically, the difference is the type of grapes used and the type of method they use in production. Okay. You're familiar with the production method?
Yeah, so here, I'll go into that a little bit. So, all of these right here are bubblies and they're all sparkling wines, right?
Yes.
So every champagne is a sparkling wine, but every sparkling wine is not a champagne.
True.
So to be a champagne, you have to be from Champagne, France, right?
Correct.
So everything else is just pretty much just a sparkling wine. It's called Prosecco when it's from Italy.
Yes.
Particularly from northern Italy.
Yes.
And it has to use the Glera grape.
Correct.
All right then, and the method, talk to me about that.
The method is called a tank method, meaning as opposed to champagne where the fermentation, the secondary fermentation happens in the bottle, they use a tank. And they add in CO2 to create the bubbles.
Okay.
All right, so we have different grapes, we have different region, and we have different style. Major difference.
And
now, when
also price is different too.
Oh yeah, that's the major thing within all of this stuff. Let's see, I think champagne and let's see, Cava from Spain use the same method as in bottle fermentation, so no need to get into all that, but they do use different grapes.
Okay.
This also comes in play with our price point.
Okay.
It's a pretty decent price point. Champagne, you're not looking, if you walk into a store and ask for champagne, know that you're going to be paying upwards of $40 per bottle. Okay, if you want sparkling wine, they will direct you to one of these two. Your Cava is going to be, I've had a Cava for what, $7?
$7 to $10.
And it's great because they use the same method as in champagne making.
But they just use different grapes.
You're getting quality, just a different grape style. And then with the Prosecco, let's see, when does this start? It starts maybe in the teens, double digits.
Yeah, about 12. You can get it from anywhere from 12 to $17, but they're actually very good quality too. And then champagnes I wouldn't use for mimosa because I wouldn't spend $40 on a bottle to mix it with some juice. Yeah, but Cavas and Proseccos are actually perfect for that, or they're even perfect on their own.
I think that these two are better not only because, different, not only because of price point, but because of that mixing factor. With your Proseccos, we have Bellinis. You know, we can add guava juice. We can add pineapple juice. I've started drinking my mimosas with pineapple juice because it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, and mangoes are very seasonal, but when mangoes are in season, I actually do a little bit of a mango mimosa too.
You see?
Just to make it a little fancy.
So these are more mixable, definitely more affordable. You could play with it a lot more. With your champagne, we're getting a bit fancy.
Yeah, a little fancy.
A little fancy. No need to mix it.
All right, then. So in terms of flavors now, what are the main differences? I know a lot of times when you get into sparkling wines, you'll see a lot of different things on the label.
Yes.
So, for example, you would see Brut.
Yes.
Then you will see Extra Dry. Then you have Demi-Sec. Then you have like ice style champagne, right?
Yeah, there are a few in between there as
Yeah.
well.
But those are like the major ones that you
those
will
are
see.
the major ones.
So Bruts usually mean that they are the driest ones, right?
Yes, it has the least amount of residual sugar, and that's sometimes what we're looking for in a good sparkler. Less residual sugar.
And then most Prosecco's are usually extra dry.
Extra dry, which can be confusing, because is it extra dry?
Yeah, there's extra dry. So extra dry actually means that it's not drier than the Brut. Bruts are usually the driest.
Yes.
And then extra dries are a little bit sweeter than the Brut.
Exactly.
So if you are not a fan of very dry wines, you can actually get an extra dry wines.
Look
Which
for
all
extra dry on the
Prosecco's are
label.
usually a little bit on the extra
Little
dry
bit of
side.
extra dry.
So they are a little bit of sweetness. So we're going to start off with trying the Prosecco?
Yes. Well, we've been trying it already. Let's continue.
Oh, good. So good.
So flavor-wise,
Green apple,
I get peach
a little peachy.
and pear.
And pear, and it's actually I get that little bit of residual sugar, so it's not very dry, but it's just medium dry, which is actually very good.
Yes. Great.
All right.
Moving on. Cava
All right then, from Spain.
from Spain.
Yeah.
They use 3 different types of grapes when it comes to making this.
Okay.
You remember which ones they are? I always mess it up because my Spanish is not so great. And I
Jarello.
think that was an Italian accent.
All right then, so they use the champagne style, which is actually perfect because what you're getting here is the elegance of a champagne style wine, but for a third, sometimes a fourth of the price.
Yeah.
So it's usually my go-to bubbly. I always keep a bottle of cava at home because I never know when you're gonna get unexpected guests on a Saturday or Sunday morning.
And it is the best for mimosas.
Yes, and it's actually perfect for mimosas because you don't want anything too sweet for your mimosas because orange juice or any juice you're adding is a little bit sweet
Already
to
has
begin
that
with.
sweetness.
So perfect for that, and it's actually the price point is also amazing as well. So I love some cava.
Ditto.
All right then. Then now we go into the king,
The creme de la creme de champagne, the champagne.
the champagne. So it's what we all buy. It's what we all know. Moet Chandon, Veuve Clicquot, Perrier Jouet,
All this
GH
beautiful
Mom,
stuff.
Cristal, Armand de Brignac. It's absolutely amazing stuff. These are the benchmark or the standard for what we call all sparkling wines.
And it matters. It matters that you don't not associate, but it matters that Champagne keeps its true Champagne name. The region of Champagne, it's like the rose that grew out of the concrete. It has seen pretty much all the wars that's happened in the world has passed through Champagne. It's a region that's associated with that type of, hostility, but yet out of all that hostility, they still celebrate. They create beautiful wine for the world to celebrate with.
Yeah.
It has rich history. They're very proud of it, and so true Champagne I think it deserves our respect.
And I absolutely respect it, and it's very good stuff. So now we're going to talk about new age style of sparkling wines that we see on the market nowadays.
Yes, that label says to pour over ice.
All right then, so this is a ice style champagne, which is fairly new, and I'm going to let you show everybody your champagne opening skills.
Oh.
And what happens with this right here, it is a demi-sec iced rosé champagne, and it's actually recommended that you have this over ice. So this is actually perfect for mimosas.
You want to count with me?
Ooh, go ahead.
How many?
6,
1,
1.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Always important when opening a bottle of champagne, always keep your hand or keep pressure on the top because you would never want that to pop and like go in somebody's eye. It's kind of the equivalent of like your girlfriend saying, "Tell me when." When you don't, she's actually very mad. And I absolutely, there's nothing I love more than popping a bottle of champagne and flexing. Nothing more than hearing that poop.
Do you want to hear the poop? Or do you want the little angel fart?
I want you to
You
show
want
them the
the
proper
professional
style. I want you to show them the proper professional
I
style.
hope I can make it.
All right. Which is you're supposed to barely hear the bottle opening. There you go. Even though I would say I'm a bit extravagant and I like to go poop. And I love that excitement because it just makes me feel good.
Yes.
Because when you spend and invest your money in a nice bottle of bubbly,
You need
you
to
are
enjoy it to the
celebrating
fullest.
and you're enjoying it. So
Somebody tried to shame me once
Yeah?
because I was working at some place, just a retail store where we sell wine, and I kept popping the bottles. Mind you, it was around Christmas time, and dude came up to me and was like, "That's not how you're supposed to open it." And I go, I'm fully aware how I'm supposed to open it, but in this setting, I don't think it really matters.
Kiss
but
my
yes,
ass, you didn't spend
if you
$60
go to
for
a
my
restaurant, the way I just opened it, where you barely hear anything, that's how you're supposed to open it.
That's the correct manner. But I would say in at home celebrating, pop that bottle, flex, be nice.
But don't shake it up and waste it.
Yeah. I mean, unless we're celebrating.
Okay, but do that with the cheap stuff. Don't do it with true champagne. Unless you got it like that, then by all means, live your life.
It ain't tricking if you got it.
True.
So let's pour this wine and let's talk about how it tastes.
Next up.
So what we're doing right now is we're doing a Debbie Sec ice style champagne. And it's recommended that you have this champagne over ice. It's a fairly new style to the market.
I'm gonna have to stop and correct you. Is this a champagne? That
I'm sorry. It's a sparkling wine from France.
Thank you. Notice it is from France, but it is not a champagne. If it is not within the Champagne region of France,
it's not a champagne. So
even if it's down the block, around the corner, it's not champagne.
All right, then. So thank you for correcting me. And so what we have here is an ice style sparkling wine.
To be enjoyed over ice. Nice
to
and
be
chill.
enjoyed over ice. Absolutely delicious. And we have the Deperville Demi-Sec Rosé ice right here.
Okay.
And it's recommended that you actually have it on ice. So the reason is it's a little bit sweeter.
You know what I like about this actually? It makes fun wine cocktails because it has that sweetness in it already. You don't really have to create a whole cocktail. It's pretty much set. Just add maybe some fruit.
And that's what they actually recommend. So
our production value has not gone up yet.
Right. Hey, we're looking for sponsors. Hit me up, B. Hit me up, B. I see you.
Throw some fresh fruit in here.
Yeah.
Maybe some herbs even. Maybe some rosemary
or some basil. It's actually recommended that you actually full of Clicquot Rich, which is another demi-sec style ice champagne. This is true ice champagne. They actually recommend in their label that you actually freeze fresh raspberries.
Ooh.
So you'd actually just put raspberries in the freezer and then have it with frozen fruit, and it makes it absolutely delicious.
And it's gonna be pretty in the glass too. Cheers.
Salud. So slightly sweet, but the ice really balances out. This is great for daytime drinking.
Perfect for daytime drinking.
I would have this at brunch almost every time.
The flavors are light but refreshing.
So that keeps you going again. And ooh, I wish we had this when we're having this fried chicken. Man, this would be good with some fried chicken.
We got some more. We can go back.
All right, then. Great with chicken and waffles, and great with anything that you would have at brunch time. So that brings us on our little journey of bubbles.
Yes.
And
a brief journey.
Brief journey.
Into bubbles.
Hopes this help you to make your decisions going into the holidays. And like we always say.
Like we always do at this time. No.
I go for mine. I got this.
Since everybody talking about how they missed the old Kanye.
Don't start.
Okay.
Everyone's on their wine journey. Bitch, I hope you start today.
And we hope you start today.
And I hope we can take you with us.
Out. Black Somms out.
Ooh, and then